go.
Hey, welcome to the Fertile Hoppers Brew House. My wife and I have been brewing since just this Christmas. She got me a 1-gallon brew kit, all grain, for a Christmas present that I've absolutely loved and can't imagine not doing it since she's gotten it for me. The first beer that I brewed was a blonde ale. Hey, I got a blonde. I'm a wonderful blonde wife. And she got me a blonde ale, so it couldn't have been better. The second one I brewed was a gingerbread brown ale. This is my first, and they're all grain.
Are you expecting me to dye my hair now?
This one I actually made myself. It's going to be a orange creamsicle New England IPA. The recipe is pretty simple. It's 2 pounds of two-row, 3.2 ounces of carapils, 5.8 ounces of flaked oats, and I'll be adding lactose at 1.6 ounces to the boil, and I'll be hopping at 5 minutes with Centennial and dry hopping with Citra. So hopefully we'll have that really nice orange flavor. Also be putting some vanilla bean into fermentation as well. We're going to be mashing at 152 today. I'm going to go up to about 155, 160, because you know the grains will lower the temperature of the mash water. And I want to get as much sugar out of the grains as I can. With 1-gallon brew kit, we have very simple stovetop appliance or
keeps your wife happy.
Keeps my wife happy.
Keeps the cleanup simple.
Always remember, guys, if you're home brewing and you want to keep your wife happy so that you can keep home brewing, keep it clean, keep it simple, and she'll keep loving you and loving the beer that you make. Actually, as while we're waiting for the mash temperature to get up, I'm going to break out one of my home brews.
Alright.
It's one of the last one of my gingerbread brown ales. Got it from Great Fermentations. Wonderful, wonderful local home brew store.
Here in Indiana.
And in, yep, Indianapolis, Indiana. Dark beer. Has hints of cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger.
This is our last one.
Pour aggressive, so you get that nice head. It doesn't last very long, but actually it's holding up very nicely.
What's that beer?
Very good beer.
It's so pretty. Okay.
But again, they have it on there. It's, you know, for one of their cheapest all grain kits, it is very good. You supply the spices, they give you everything else. It's fermented with a Safale SO4. Nice, clean, a little bit of estery, but beautiful beer.
You know, of course, everybody who's watching this is going to be an expert and know what Safale is.
Safale is the yeast company. SO4 is the type of yeast. It's the yeast strain, dry, because when you're doing one gallon at a time, the liquid yeast, you know, yes, they're great, they're wonderful if you're making 5 gallons. You just can't keep it around with a 1-gallon kit. So I do dry yeast. With this one, I'll be using Safale again, US05. I know typically with NEPAs, they tend to use the London ale yeast, like London Ale 3 or other London-based yeast. And we've just went a little bit over our strike temp, but just let it cool down just a bit, and got busy talking and not busy brewing. You know, that's always a dangerous thing. Oh, so good. Like I said, it's a Breeze 2-row, carapils, and flaked oats.
I'd rather video you showing Yuko and Yo how to do the. Is that going to be overflowing it?
Shouldn't be, because we did. This is the about the same amount of grains that we did with the gingerbread brown.
Okay. This looks like it's way too much. I don't understand how the water is swallowing it. It's amazing.
I'll be careful to stir it.
Clearly, I've watched this a million times, of course.
No, only 5.
I haven't watched you pour it in.
Every time you mention it.
What?
You mention it about every time we do this.
Really?
Uh-huh.
No.
Yep.
There's no way
At least the last
No.
time when Yuko and Yo are wonderful Japanese friends who are now home brewers as well.
In the States, of course, not in Japan, because, you know, you have to...
Who wants to make low alcohol beer anyways? In Japan, it has to be under 0.5% alcohol to be brewed at home. Thankfully, our American laws aren't as draconian as all that. You do have to make sure as you are mashing in that you don't have any dough balls going on in the...
How can you get dough balls with,
They form.
they're kernels.
They're almost fire. They're crushed grains. Mm-hmm. They go through a mill.
Very lumpy crushed grains.
But the smell coming off of that is just so wonderful. I mean, already...
Kind of Christmassy. It's homey.
Mm-hmm. We both grew up on farm.
Yeah, we both grew up on farms. We both grew up...
around crushed grains, feeding the animals. It's just a wonderful, welcoming home smell when I mash in. And so... but yeah, it just reminds me of being back on the farm and having animals out. Of course, this is going to taste a lot better than any feed going to those cows. But
we're getting a battery alert.
all right, this will mash at 152 for an hour. We'll just let that kind of sit right there. All right, so we are just about at temperature for our sparge water, which is going to be about 170 degrees. We can get up there just a little bit higher. We have about a minute left on our mash. I had to switch cameras. As you can probably hear in the background, my son Dakota, one of our twin babies, 8 months old, is not having a very good night at the moment, so I may switch back and forth depending on if we have the time for Elizabeth to pick up where we left off. However, I'm going to be at 30 seconds from now, I will be pouring my grains into our boil kettle and sparging with our water. So we'll see how that goes. We'll be right back. I will now be pouring my grains into my boil kettle and then sparging at 170 degrees. We just got this new sieve specifically for brewing, so I'm hoping it will hold all my grains. Settle down a bit here. We have to agitate it just a little bit. Much better than the old way of having a sieve, a smaller sieve over a colander. Got the majority of the grains out at that time, so I'm going to pour a little sparge water at a time over the grains to try and rinse all those nice sugars off there. To bring up our boil water at a full 2 gallons. May have overfilled there a little bit. Again, with my 1 gallon setup, you have to improvise a little bit with wooden spoons as braces and spaghetti colanders as a good filter. But it all turns out and makes good beer anyway, so.
Are you still recording?
Mm-hmm. Alright, so the grains have been sparged and are now fully drained of all the liquid, and so we will be now boiling. We'll boil for 1 hour and see what comes about. Here's the wort. We'll boil for 1 hour. We'll add the hops at 55 minutes into the boil, and those are going to be 0.3 ounces of Centennial. Another thing for the blooper reel, when you use wooden bamboo stake or spoons as supports for your sparge filter, make sure they're out of the flame when you turn it on. Yeah, we had just a near accident with having one of the wooden spoons that I use got a little too close to the flame, setting this to boil. So we'll see you in about 50 minutes, or once it starts boiling, about 50 minutes. Just about to hit the boil. Start the timer for 60 minutes. And we'll add the lactose. I use a nice big canning kettle, pot, because of boil over. I don't use my small stock pots because, you know, I just prefer to have the hot break and this nice big kettle at a 1 gallon kit, so I don't have to worry about it. Alright. I also forgot to mention that we will be adding lactose, milk sugar, at the boiling point as well to, again, give the final beer a milky mouthfeel, a little bit creamier, and with the mixture of the vanilla, the Citra and Centennial hops I'll be using, hopefully give it a orange dreamsicle flavor. Alright, as the wort is on the boil, we have our sanitation station ready to go. We have our funnel, our thermometer, our airlock, our lid, and our bottle, our fermenter, all ready to be already sanitized, ready to be emptied or filled with our wonderful wort. Of course, I'll empty out the fermenter of the rest of the Star San, which I use. That's all I use to sanitize all my equipment is Star San. I know others have used iodophor and other chemicals. I prefer Star San. Don't fear the foam. I have my water bath ready to chill. That's another nice thing about doing 1 gallon batches is that it is really easy to cool quickly in a sink